The surprising connection between mold exposure and your diet, include why some healthy foods might actually be making things worse, and how simple dietary changes could be your path to recovery.
And it's not just about visible mold. These microscopic fungi are everywhere in our environment, releasing toxins called mycotoxins that can seriously impact our health.
Wait, so you're saying even if we can't see it, mold could be affecting us?
Exactly. According to the CDC, mold can enter our homes through open doors, windows, vents, and even on our clothing and pets. It's literally everywhere around us.
That's kind of terrifying. But what does this have to do with our diet?
Well, when mold toxins enter our body, they can cause something called dysbiosis, basically an imbalance in our gut bacteria. This can lead to all sorts of digestive problems.
Like, what kind of problems are we talking about?
According to recent research, mold exposure can cause everything from nausea and vomiting to serious issues like intestinal bleeding and bacterial infections in the gut.
Intestinal bleeding? That sounds really serious.
It is. And what's worse is that these symptoms are often misdiagnosed because they can mimic other conditions like food allergies or IBS.
So how do we know if mold is the culprit?
Well, if you're experiencing digestive issues along with other symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, or respiratory problems, mold exposure could be the underlying cause.
And I imagine our diet plays a big role in either helping or hurting this situation?
Absolutely. When dealing with mold exposure, what we eat becomes crucial. Some foods can actually make symptoms worse by harboring additional mold or mycotoxins.
Even healthy foods?
Yes, and this is where it gets interesting. Even traditionally healthy foods like fermented products can cause problems for people dealing with mold toxicity.
Wait, what? But aren't fermented foods supposed to be good for gut health?
Normally, yes, but research shows that for people with mold sensitivity, fermented foods can actually trigger inflammation and make symptoms worse.
So what should people be eating instead?
The focus should be on anti-inflammatory foods that support detoxification. Fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and certain fruits can be really beneficial.
Speaking of fruits, I've heard prunes can be particularly helpful. Is that true?
Yes. Recent studies show that prunes contain unique compounds that not only support digestive health, but also have anti-inflammatory properties.
Really? Tell me more about that.
Well, according to research published in 2024, prunes contain both soluble and insoluble fiber, which helps maintain regular bowel movements and supports the growth of beneficial gut bacteria.
That's fascinating. Any other benefits?
Actually, yes. They're also rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that can help combat the oxidative stress caused by mold exposure.
How many should people eat?
Studies suggest that about 5 prunes per day is a good starting point. This provides about 11% of your daily fiber needs.
But I'm guessing you shouldn't go overboard?
Exactly. Like any food, moderation is key. Too many prunes can actually cause digestive discomfort.
Let's circle back to mold exposure. What are some other dietary strategies people should know about?
One crucial strategy is avoiding foods that commonly contain mold or mycotoxins, like aged cheeses, dried fruits that aren't properly stored, and certain grains.
How can people tell if their food might be contaminated?
Well, visible mold is obviously a red flag, but it's not always visible. Proper storage is key, keeping foods in dry, cool places and using them before their expiration date.
And I imagine packaging matters too.
Absolutely. Airtight containers are essential, especially for grains and nuts, which can develop mold if exposed to moisture.
What about supplements? Can they help?
Some supplements can support detoxification, but it's important to work with a healthcare provider because some supplements can actually make symptoms worse if not used properly.
That makes sense. Any other dietary tips for our listeners?
Staying hydrated is crucial. Water helps flush toxins from your system and supports your body's natural detoxification processes.
And I'm guessing processed foods are a no-go?
Right. Processed foods can contain hidden mold and mycotoxins, plus they often lack the nutrients needed to support healing.
What about eating out? That must be tricky.
It can be challenging. It's best to stick to fresh, whole foods and avoid dishes that might contain aged or fermented ingredients when eating out.
Any specific restaurants that are better choices?
Places that focus on fresh, made-to-order dishes are usually safer than those using lots of preserved or processed ingredients.
How long does it typically take to see improvements when following these dietary guidelines?
It varies person to person, but many people start noticing improvements in their digestive symptoms within a few weeks of making dietary changes.
That's encouraging. But I imagine consistency is important?
Absolutely. It's not about perfect adherence, but maintaining these dietary changes consistently over time is key for long-term improvement.
What about reintroducing foods later?
Once symptoms improve, you can slowly reintroduce certain foods one at a time while monitoring your body's response. But this should be done carefully and systematically.
That makes sense. Any final advice for our listeners?
Remember that healing from mold exposure is a journey. Focus on fresh, whole foods, stay hydrated, and pay attention to how your body responds to different foods.
And don't forget about those prunes.
Right. Just remember, 4 or 5 per day is plenty. More isn't always better.
This has been really eye-opening. I had no idea mold could have such a big impact on our digestive health.
Many people don't realize it until they start experiencing symptoms. That's why awareness is so important.
And it's not just about cleaning visible mold, is it?
No, it's about creating an overall environment, both in your home and in your body, that's inhospitable to mold growth.
And diet plays a huge role in that.
Exactly. What we eat can either support our body's natural defenses or compromise them.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap up. Any last words?
Just remember, if you're dealing with unexplained digestive issues, consider mold exposure as a possible cause, and don't underestimate the power of dietary changes in recovery.
Thank you for sharing all this valuable information.